Welcome to Center Heist Productions. It is July 31st, 2024. Please hit the like, subscribe down below in your right hand corner. Muchly appreciated. Thank you to my followers. And please jump on board as you get real info on the Habs. We just don't jump into on making rumors here at this channel. So you got this is a channel we have designed in integrity. Now, um, as the title states, the good news. So please tell your friends, family, and hit the like, subscribes. It grows the channel, and we're building something here and this channel is growing. So thank you. Leave your comments too. As you can see, the title states, we just about hour ago, approximation, a little over maybe or a little under. It's a approximation. Okay, as I said, the news came in that Caden Gooley, which we knew was coming up, was the only player left, has signed a 6-year, $33.3 million contract, 6 year, so 5.55. I think this is appropriate. So he comes in much lower than Jeff Sanderson, which I've been saying in my past videos. I don't. Well, I think Jeff Sanderson got too much in the first place from Ottawa. So, anywho, but I did think that Gooley's had so many injuries, and although he is showing signs of so far as being the top youngster on D by far, uh, he still has a lot of holes in his games, and his injury situation has to be cleaned up. But this is if he can get that cleaned up and he's definitely showed the capability of covering superstars on other teams, which is that's why it puts him ahead of the rest quite easily. However, he's injury prone. From what we've seen, we got Jack-Eye in the same boat. So these two really have injury-wise. They're two of the four players on the Habs that have to. This year is going to be a telltale year for those two. However, I think this is a great deal because long term, if Gooley can get himself going in the right direction, he shows great glimpses. He's got lots of speed, grit. It's a matter of putting it all together. Although at the same token, I think it would help if he was on his strong side. So that's I mean, for him to be doing a lot of this last year on his right side, that's quite something. But there's no doubt that this guy in the future is the number one defenseman, and people sitting there putting other guys ahead of him. Bull, bull. I don't care about. I love Lane Hudson. I love Mayu. I love Reinbacker. None of them are. And we're talking about the overall things that a player brings to the team. Cooley's number one. Let's get that straight. There's no and ifs and buts about this. As much as players can do different things and have some offensive sides, they're there for a different reason. It's what you can bring when you're in a playoff push, right? That's what it's about. That's why Gooley is your number one guy. I don't know who's going to be with him, in future pairings, whether it's Ryan, I'm going with the obvious of Reinbacker and Mayu, but nothing would surprise me. I honestly think, like anybody thinking that Lane Hudson's going to be on the first pairing, and I've seen this in some of the models. I don't buy it. Yes, he is going to fix the power play, and he's got a great scoring potential, but when playoff hockey comes into par, I believe he's going to be in a lower pairing. Sorry to say that, with a big partner to make up the difference, so that he can play his game. And I think I can't even conclude whether he would be second pairing or third pairing. And my reasoning being because there's an upside to Arbor Jackeye on that left side, and people aren't thinking about that. And Arbor's got an advantage in some sense. And for playoff hockey, that's why I said, and I noticed Eric Engels said that on Tony Marinero Monday night, and I've been saying it for some time. I think Arbor. So it was nice to see Eric come on board and said the exact same thing that I've been saying for over a year. I see an upside to Arbor Jackeye that if he can pull, which he is moving in the right direction, except we got to see, is he injury prone? That's the question, with both shoulders. We'll see. But I see an upside if he can stay healthy. I see an upside to his game that he's possibly could be three, three or four, which is a second pairing defenseman. So they're going to be situating between him and Lane Hudson. And like I said, for Lane, and that's Arbor's perfect for playoff hockey. For the grind, you need those four. I say you need four, at least four gritty horses. What Lane Hudson is a specialty guy, and that's what you guys got a clue in. I've seen models that it's not making sense. I'm sorry, I love Lane Hudson too, and he's got a lot of talent. I think he's going to be a power play specialist majorly because he's going to fix that power play. No doubt his offensive side is through the roof on that area. But can he play top lines? I think he would wear down. And I think that would be on his weaker side. So you have to figure out where you're going to place him. I'm not sure how the Habs work that out. A lot to be seen yet, of course. Um, but also, I didn't go running to make a video. I planned on making a video on the first two signings, which yesterday, which I thought, don't ask me why. I thought Barron was getting a little more than Jack Eye, but just going through the news clips again today, and I could have sworn it was Barron getting more. Either way, um, they both signed as well, Jack Eye and Barron, which we knew was going to happen. Now they have 2-year contracts. Um, which allows them, and then you can see the difference. You see goalie, they know this guy's the future. Jack Eye and Barron, it's going to be, you're still fighting to establish yourself, your whole game. And I think there's different situations. I'm glad to see them both signed as well because I like everybody Montreal's got going, on that back group, on the defense core. It's just there's a lot of proving to be done, and I think while you've seen Barron's contract go to a 2-year, it's time for him to prove himself. And I do think it's do or die for him this year. Now, he's got a great height, so there's no reason this guy, if he could just bring the defense and clean up the front of the net area, he could be something else and get rid of those um, giveaways, lapses on giveaways. He would be phenomenal because his skating is beautiful, and we know he's got a little offensive side to him. So if he could clean that up, but that's been his big problem. And in confidence, what I see is some guys respond to when their game falls, they get sent down to Laval, or they come apart. And yes, he came back better, but it seems like once there's a challenge, the confidence goes and he falls apart. So I don't know what that is. He's got to overcome it. So I'm glad they're giving him a chance to correct it, and we'll see where it goes. But I do think that's an important 2 years for him. Jack Eye in a little different situation. Barron, from what the news clip's saying, 2.3 million for 2 years. So they lock him up at very good prices. Jack Eye 2.6 million for 2 years. Now I thought that was opposite, but that's what I'm reading today. Anywho, so don't take it to heed to that degree. I didn't take that. That's why I didn't go running, making a video immediately. I knew good signings, but Jack Eye's got to prove himself too. He had only one moment where, and it was kind of none of us expected it when he got sent to Laval, um, and had to prove himself a bit after his injury, but it did him worlds good. He responded well to it and took him a few games because he didn't come back immediately and play well, but he came back after, about 2 or 3 games. Then you saw the difference in him. So if he can keep excelling in that direction, now the only thing for Jack I think it's a different case. I think his ceiling is there's a lot he can climb because he's got a shot there that's not been utilized by the Habs yet, and he's got a little bit of offense to him too, which is kind of surprising for his style of game with the gritty, crashing, banging type of defenseman he is. So there's a lot more to his game, and that's why I think he could also be with Lane Hudson and could help that power play myself. I don't think the Habs have clued into that whatsoever, so that you have Lane Hudson being the mover, who's got the capability of moving in and knows where to be and set up man, and where Jack Eye's got a big bomb from the point. If they could just utilize that, because they're not utilizing it on the power play, and they haven't put those pieces together. But I think that's a strength, and if they ever clue into it, I almost think that those two would be a good pairing on a first unit. Other than you could insert Doc periodically and pull one out and go back and forth. If you wanted to juggle a bit. I think it's a great signing. However, I know Jack Eye knows that he brings something different that is valuable, and that's great. But he's got to be cautious and not let that go to his head, because um, he's got some proving to do still. And I love him because, as I said, I want to go out and buy his jersey. He's one of my favorites. Him, Gooley, Slavkovsky, um, and Doc right now until I see Demidov play. So that's where I sit right now. And so I think there's a great, they lock up their young defensemen, but I do think these 2 years for Jack Eye and Barron are going to be, they got to prove themselves now. It's going to be, and there's quite a dogfight with the talent that's coming up with Mayu pressing, Ryan Backer pressing, Lane Hudson pressing, and then you can't count Adam Enstrom out, because he could very well be a solid piece in the future too. Now, and then you got Harris and Struble, so you got a loaded defense there. You can't be napping, and that's the big key there. That's the great stability that Harris has brought, that he hasn't been in. He's kept his game together for the most part. So people don't look at that. It's a different style of game. It's more responsible, but he finds the outlets. So, like I say, I do think that the ceiling for Barron, or not Barron, Jack Eye, it's all on him. I think it's a matter of him and Goalie both have the same issue of staying healthy. I think these guys are two really key pieces for the left side, and Hudson. So I think those three are real huge on the left side for Montreal in the future, and adds Enstrom may be as well. He may be, however they juggle that lineup, he could be the seventh defenseman once they figure out where everybody's going to be. Because I see on the right side in the future, it's going to be between Reinbacher, Mayu, and whoever, between Harris, Barron, um, Enstrom, and Harris, Barron, Enstrom. There's somebody else. Harris, Barron, Enstrom, and Struble. Take that third positioning, or fourth. They could be the extra two. So there's a big logjam there. So I think this is great for Montreal. They lock up their three young defensemen. Great signing, because if this works out with Gooley, I've been saying all along, I don't think he should be getting a contract as big as Sanderson. I think Sanderson has proved himself a bit more. I don't think he's worth what he's getting, but I think he has proved to be a bit more, has proven more than Gooley has thus far. I think injuries have been a problem for Gooley, and he's still got also some things to show and so clean up in his game. Jack Eye, same thing. He's got to, now that he's gained that confidence and he learned a little bit down in Laval, now he's got to push that and work with it and grow it and clean up his penalty minutes. Um, I really do think the sky's the limit. That could bring him to the second pairing. So he really is a unicorn, and I love what he brings. But he doesn't want to get cocky and think that just because he brings that physical aspect, there are other guys they can turn to. I mean, so you got to be cautious there. But I love Jack Guy, and I hope he does bring it and show the Habs what he can do. And I do hope he's on the second pairing down the road. Then we got Barron. Like I said, I feel for this guy. He's been the guy that's had the roughest time out of Montreal's decor thus far, not being able to put it together. So I do think that this is critical for him, and it's kind of scary for him. But I still think he's got talent there. There's no end of some buts there, none whatsoever. I have no question that he has talents. He's got to clean up the giveaways, and he's got to fix his defense, work harder on his defensive side of the game and front of the net cleanup. And if he can do all that, it's a lot to ask, because there's like 3 areas he's got to clean up, but it can be done. He's definitely got great hands and great legs. He has got an offensive side to him, but he's going to be sort of like Matheson down the road, where you're going to have a high goals against you. And actually, Matheson is more complete player, as we know, way more complete. It's not even a comparison. So don't make the mistake of what I'm saying there. I'm saying that Barron's going to have similar holes, except worse than what Matheson is. I think Matheson is a great player, but he's got holes in his game. But he's got a great offensive game. So with that being said, go Habs, go. I'm so impressed with what Hughes has done here. Great signings, and this is showing just how smart they have been. And now we'll have like I say, I'm still expecting the big trade before opening night. I think they're just going to wait and see how this all battles out in training camp and see who's pushing from the kids. Um, and I think that's what they're waiting for, just to see what they should finalize in a trade to get, a forward, a better forward in the group, under the top six, or well, not top six, well, the top line and Kirby Doc, because for me, I think I've seen a lot of people keep putting Newhook in that second, and that's great. He can definitely juggle. But when they actually have a second line, he's not a second line player. And anybody saying he is, you're out of your cop picking mind. He's a third liner. Best, bottom dollar. That's when the Habs will be good. He'll be a third liner. So you can juggle him there, but I would rather see. And people don't underestimate Yoel Armia, because him and Waugh, to me, had a great connection. And I'd love to see them try that with Kirby Doc, because if those two got a connection, and remember, Armia, if he can continue after he pulled his socks up, what he was bringing, that could be quite a line. And wow, they really had a good connection, and Kirby Doc can stay healthy. Wow, that could be a great second line for the time being. Now we still could use a winger or two that's at least second liners. But I do think the Habs are going to make a trade to address that. I would not be surprised. It's either that or they're going to beef up the bottom six to better players, really, to make it stronger down in the bottom six, because we got to get bigger, grittier, and have a little bit more sandpaper in the bottom six as well. But it needs, you need to have somewhat of bit of talent too, because there's going to be guys that are going to no longer be in their positions when the up and coming group is coming up, and Montreal adds some grit and talent. There's going to be guys who have to be moved out. So with that being said, go Habs, go. I'm so happy and pleased with this. Now everybody signed. You can focus on uh, where you can make this deal, who you can move in order to bring in that forward to help and it's got to be somebody with a little more experience. That's for sure. It would help them, somewhat of a veteran, maybe around Suzuki's age at least, or a year more than him. So that's what I think the Habs need to do, and I think it is coming. I fully expect it. I'll keep repeating myself and saying I expect a similar trade before opening night, similar to the Petrie deal. It's either that or there'll be two smaller trades somehow that they'll make work out, that they get half decent players. We'll see how it goes. They got enough talent that they're going to have to unload in packages that they can get quality for it, and they can start unloading some picks as well. And then I heard the comment that the rebuild, I heard Grant McKegg saying the rebuild is over. I tend to like a lot of what Grant McKegg says, but this rebuild is nowhere near over. So I don't know where he was coming with that comment. Bottom dollar, yes, they might have the bulk of the right picks for their group up front, but I don't think it's over by any stretch of imagination. I think they're only going to be at the halfway point this year. I think there's still, you can do your fine tuning in the next two uh, drafts. some fine tuning when you have some players that just don't pan out, or an emergency situation like a guy just is injury prone. Okay, you might have to address it, so you'll be working on that. So this rebuild, sorry, totally stick with Hughes and Gordon saying this was going to be a 5-year plan minimum, and I totally agree. So for Grant, totally have to disagree with you on that. This rebuild is not at the final stages. Some people are saying that. I disagree. Yes, the main pieces are probably a lot of main. There's still a couple of missing pieces. Remember that. We're not totally there on offense yet. So even though we got a lot better talent coming up, we're not totally there yet because we got to size up, whether it be through free agency. And I do think next summer will be a big free agency summer for top six, and scoring potential as well, talent wise. So I think that's going to be a big summer for us. Then you might be almost done the rebuild. Then you can start letting everything gel. So with that being said, I do project there to be a big, massive trade. Great, go Habs, go! Congratulations, Caden Gooley. You deserve it, but you got a lot of proving to do. But they could get a lot of value out of this if he can stay healthy. That's a darn good contract at 5.5, 5.55 a year. That's great value. Jack Eye, Barron, same thing, much shorter, and it's only right. They both shown different things that they need to address, and this gives them a chance to prove it. Although I think Jack Guy, he knows he brings something different, but that doesn't make you a shoo-in. So he's got to remember that. But clean up the rest of your game and improve it. I do think he's a wild card. And with that being said, you've seen what I projected for the defense. I'm just going at summer pace here where I'm on holidays. I'm going to be coming out with dealing with the goaltending and the offense in 2 different episodes as well for this season coming and the future, what I project. Uh, you're going to be surprised with one of those areas that I think you're going to be a little surprised. So keep tuned. Let me know your comments of what you think of all these 3 signings. I think they're great. I think we're headed in the right direction. However, do I think we're contending for a playoff spot? Not a chance. I think, if anything, we may move. We may move up. We may move down because a few teams below us have juiced up their teams. So it's going to be interesting to see. That's why I think a trade is needed. If we want to move, be more competitive, we're going to need that trade because we're just not there. And it's our offensive group that's not there. Right. So if we go with this lineup, we will fall and stay at 5 and below, in the bottom 5 in the standings. So to me, there's great that we'll have Kirby Doc back, but can he stay healthy? Can Caden Gooley stay healthy? Can Arbor Jackeye stay healthy? Can Newhook stay healthy? A lot of big questions. And I think they do deserve to be rewarded with somebody brought in, even if it's for a short span, for a 2-year span until the young fellows down below get to that point, just to have them there. I do think the team deserves a little add on that can spark them up front with some experience with that person. So thank you for joining me, and we'll keep our eyes on, because now to me it's pretty much trades that I'm expecting from here on in. Great to see everybody locked up, and that defensive battle is going to be something else to see. There's so many great players, and it's sad because a few of them are going to have to be moved. And it's not a knock against them. You just got to try to pick the best ones out of the whole batch, and that's hard going to be that's good. I wouldn't want to be in their shoes because you just don't know how players progress, right? And when they come to their ceiling. So go Habs, go, but big job ahead. Coaching staff and development crew got a big job ahead, and so does Kent Hughes and Gordon. But they're doing the right stuff. It looks good. However, anybody thinking this team's competing for a playoff spot this up and coming season, not unless there's a major insert into that forward group. So sorry, don't see it. Yes, Kirby Doc will up some points, but now we've had some lower teams improve their lineups too. So this all kind of, it's hard to say. So I think we're almost not in a move. The Habs almost didn't move, the way they're designed. So we'll see what happens. Thank you for joining me. Leave your comments. Just keep them polite and respectful. Always enjoy hearing from you guys what you think. I think this was a great signing and really proud of the way Kent Hughes and Gordon are doing business. So it's looking good for our future. It's just that people got to be patient. It was planned 5 years. It's going to be approximately that before we start seeing some. And we're going into the third year, like almost behind us, right? So there you go. There'll be 2 years left. Thank you for joining me. You've seen it here at Center Heist First. God bless. We'll catch you soon.